Welcome to California Bountiful. I'm your host, Aubrey Aquino, and we're hanging out in beautiful Apple Hill. This is an agriculture community known for their rich history in farming and winemaking. But first, we're taking you to a Northern California rice farm known for their regenerative organic farming practices, and they're going to show us what that looks like in real life and why it all starts with baby ducks.
We're regenerative organic for Lundberg. It has, I think, three main pillars: soil, wildlife, and a social or people. But it all begins with organic. And so it's how we care for the soil. And we're growing cover crops. We have crop rotation. We're having habitat. The animals are important in a regenerative organic system. And in our case, we don't own the animals. The animals are wild. And they just come in by the thousands, by the hundreds of thousands, if not more.
For decades, the Lundberg family has been growing rice in support of their generations-old founding principle to leave the land better than they found it.
It's our firm belief that you're not regenerative if you're not organic first and foremost. Organic to us is really the foundation for regenerative, so that's where it starts. But then to truly be regenerative, it's a bit more than just being organic and not using chemicals, essentially. It's more of a holistic view of how you take care of the soil, interact with the environment, and take care of people in your community.
Anders, along with his father Bryce and sister Brita, all play an active role in pioneering regenerative, organic rice farming practices at their family farm.
We call it farming in partnership with nature, working with nature, not against it. Things like providing habitat for the birds in the wintertime and then nesting habitat for them in the spring.
So my grandpa Harlan used to say, people called us those crazy Lundbergs for trying to do something different. And it's true, people thought we were crazy for farming organically in the 1960s, before most people even knew what organic meant. But now we're regenerative organic certified. We became the first US grown rice brand to launch a regenerative organic certified rice. And that's really exciting because it's building on that legacy that my great-grandpa Albert started when he decided that we were going to leave the land better than he found it. It almost feels like a validation that that's exactly what we're doing. By building soil health, providing habitat for hundreds of species, and really taking care of the community around us.
And the family is going the extra mile to prioritize the health of their soil and support the ecosystem in and around their rice fields, starting with baby ducks.
I know that you're probably wondering, what do ducks have to do with growing rice? Actually, quite a ducking bit. I'm not sure if I can say that. But during the winter, we grow cover crops to help build soil health and provide natural fertility to our fields. But those cover crops also provide nesting habitat for ducks who have lost a lot of their natural breeding habitat. And so they find cover in the leafy greens of oats, vetch, and fava beans. And so before we start our tractors to prep the fields for planting, we work with our friends at California Waterfowl Association to rescue the duck eggs by hand and transfer them to a duck sanctuary where they are incubated, hatched, raised, and released back into the wild.
So when Lundberg finds duck nests in their fields, they strap on their hip waders and hand carry the eggs to safety.
It's like a giant Easter egg hunt. You kind of tread carefully into the fields and you all line up holding a rope with cans affixed to it. And you shake the rope so that the cans make a lot of noise and flush the mother hens off of their nests. And when you see a mother hen flush off her nest, then you tread really carefully over to that part of the field and you look for the nest and then rescue the eggs. And you actually place them in egg cartons like you would have, in your fridge. But you line them with feathers to keep the eggs warm and cozy. It seems small, rescuing, one egg at a time, but over the years that adds up to, 30,000 eggs. And so think of the impact that we're having at scale. It's really meaningful because it's a reminder that we're all connected, right? We share these fields with hundreds of species, and the way that we farm not only impacts those species, but also has the potential to impact the broader environment around us.
There's over 230 species that use our fields for their home at some point of the year or some all year long. And baby ducks, I think, are one of the best stories that we have as far as if we care about ducks and saving baby ducks that much, just think how much we'll care about our rice.
The average consumer doesn't have the opportunity to be a farmer or to make decisions out on land and taking care of the environment directly, but they have a choice in which products they buy. And that choice, they can use that to support others like us who are trying to do the right thing when it comes to tending to the land and farming regeneratively.
Baby ducks, I just can't get enough. Next, winter squash is harvested in late summer through autumn, and it's good for you.
Today we're talking about a food that's both the MVP in nutrition and taste. Welcome to the wonderful world of squash. Now, this gorgeous gourd is not just delicious, but it's also so good for you. It's loaded with vitamin A, C, and K, which is going to help boost your immune system and your bone health. On top of that, it's got loads of fiber, which is perfect for helping prevent cardiovascular disease and chronic disease in general. Now, there's lots of delicious and easy ways to enjoy squash. When it comes to winter squash, like butternut squash, spaghetti squash, or acorn squash, all you have to do is slice them open and roast them in the oven. Or when it comes to a spaghetti squash, what you can do is put it in the microwave and scoop out the inside so you have a delicious carb alternative. Summer squash, like zucchini, can keep in the refrigerator for up to a few weeks, and pumpkins are also delicious to enjoy this time of year. You can roast them, put them in a soup, or simply enjoy them on your counter. For more nutrition tips and tricks, head to Ashley Hawk RD.
Still to come, our Farm Bureau Foodies insider takes us on a cheesy assignment. But first, we're tossing it up with an international pizza champ at his flagship San Francisco pizzeria. California Bountiful is brought to you by the California Farm Bureau.
Home is where you start the day. Out the door, you're on your way. All the places you wanna go. Maybe you should take it slow. There's so much to care for in your life. That's why Nationwide is on your side.
Reno, Nevada, the biggest little city in the world. Join us this December for the California Farm Bureau annual meeting and YF&R State Conference at the Grand Sierra Resort. Shop our California marketplace. Attend engaging workshops, plus fun activities along with everything the Grand Sierra Resort Casino has to offer. Vision, action, results. Be there. Meet us in Reno this December. To register and get all the event details, visit cfbf.com today. Welcome back. He sources the freshest ingredients from the best purveyors to toss up his award-winning pizzas. And his love for his craft comes from growing up on a farm.
We're in San Francisco in North Beach at my restaurant, Tony's Pizza Napolitana. It's like my flagship restaurant, so this is where it almost all began. I was working in the business for about 17 years with my brother. I said, hey, I'm gonna open up my own place, so we're at Tony's in North Beach.
Tony Gemignani is an award-winning chef, philanthropist, and multi-concept restaurateur.
I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with it. I wanted to make it better. I wanted to be better at it. I wanted to be the best at it. Lindsay olives, these are natural olives. Growing up in Fremont on a farm, I was always around produce. We did fava beans, cherries. I was always into food. There were apricots, corn patches. There was about 5 families that probably had about 100 acres. But watching my mom cook was a big part of my life. Where did people say, where do you get your palate from? Part of it was my mom and my grandfather, learning how to grow things and pick things, and then learning how to cook with those ingredients. There was this sauce base that she always made. Her spaghetti was the best.
Adopting a strong work ethic from his grandfather and a palate akin to his Italian heritage, Tony embraces a fresh farm-to-fork philosophy.
I mean, even if you look at the tomatoes that I use, the majority of the tomatoes I use is a California tomato. Stanislaus County, Stanislaus makes my own line of tomatoes. They're the best in the industry. I mean, when you look at the Ferraris of tomatoes in the industry, they come from California. All the basil, if you look at the garlic that we use, we only use Christopher Ranch garlic at every single location. So you look at Andy Boy, you look at some of these, the names I'm pulling out are names of local California brands that we use. We stone ground some of our wheat that goes into our recipes.
And he's sharing his passion for food through his various restaurant concepts and wide variety of offerings.
We're at Tony's Pizza Napolitana. Next door is the original Slice House. You'll see slice houses all over the Bay Area, from Belmont to Haight-Ashbury to San Leandro to Walnut Creek. Even a bakery that's localized that we make all sourdough bread and bagels that we make in North Beach. It's called Toscano Brothers. A little pasta shop over here where we make fresh pasta. It's called Giovanni's. It's just 2 doors down. And then I have a restaurant called Capo's, which is a Chicago-style restaurant that does deep dish, thin, cast iron skillet. So a lot of different restaurants. If you're at a 49er game, you're at a Raider game, you're at a Warrior game or a Giants game, you'll see a Slice House or a Pizza Rock or a Tony G's at one of those locations, and I'm serving up slices. I do pasta. We make fresh pasta. We make sourdough breads. It's a very scratch restaurant, from our dressings to our pesto sauce. Everything's made from scratch.
To date, Tony's racked up numerous awards and accolades for his pizza prowess, even being named a world champ in Italy, the first American to ever do it. But when it comes to pizza styles, he embraces them all.
We were the first to start a restaurant that had multiple restaurants, multiple flours, multiple styles. So it's like you go in and you're a foodie, and you're able to sit at a table. You can see a Neapolitan in front of you, a New York in front of you, a Detroit, Sicilian grandma. You see all these styles and try them. They're in the right oven. They're using the right ingredients, the right sauce, flour, everything. Pizza takes you back when things were less complicated. It wasn't political. It was just having fun, and as you grow up, there's nothing like eating something that brings you back to when you were a kid, when it was no stress, you didn't have bills to pay and things to think about. So it's communal, it's round, it's square, it's thick, it's thin. It can be any combination that you want.
Tony's also known to share his talent and craft with aspiring pizza makers. He's not planning to slow his roll anytime soon.
You're always trying to make your next pizza better than the one that you made yesterday.
Just ahead, moo-worthy earrings and accessories inspired and crafted with cowhides and leather. And coming up, the cheesiest segment of the show.
Sometimes we lose, sometimes we win. Sometimes we try to fit it all in. Sometimes we don't know what's in store. Sometimes we find what we're looking for. Sometimes we're rolling easy and free. Sometimes 1 and 1 makes 3. So much to love along this ride. That's why Nationwide is on your side.
The California Farm Bureau has protected the diverse agricultural interests in the Golden State for over a century. As part of the California Farm Bureau, you'll add your voice to the combined strength of over 34,000 farmers, ranchers, and families through our state. That means more connections, more influence, and more opportunity to fight for the issues that impact your life. With your support behind us, California Farm Bureau's robust government affairs, federal policy and farm PAC, and legal teams work tirelessly to advocate at all levels of government, protecting and promoting our shared way of life. Together, California Farm Bureau and our members are standing up for farmers, ranchers, and families throughout the Golden State every day, working to cultivate a bountiful future for all Californians.
A A yummy grilled cheese sandwich starts with the comfort of the cows who help produce one of its main ingredients. Our Farm Bureau Foodies insider Anna Genesi has more on the cheese.
I'm here in the beautiful Hilmar Cheese Visitor Center with Denise and Monica. Thank you ladies for joining me today. So first, Denise, I just want to pick your brain a little bit. Tell me a little bit about Hilmar Cheese.
Yes, Hilmar Cheese Company was founded in 1984 by 12 dairy farming families in the Central Valley that all owned Jersey cows. So
for our folks at home who maybe think about dairy cows as always the Holstein, the black and white, you guys were founded with these beautiful Jersey brown cows because of their higher butter fat. And so today we're in the visitor center. Can you tell me about why did you guys build this place? What do you do here?
So our theme is tour, taste, shop, and eat.
Oh,
and our and our owners are very passionate about helping folks learn about the dairy industry and the wonderful products and the nutritious products that we do, and how we're really good stewards of both the dairy farming side and also with our recycling and sustainability side as a company. So we kind of touch on all of that, why people come here, and there's lots of free cheese samples, so great place to come.
So Monica's here today because Denise and I have said we are not good cooks. And you would think that I wouldn't mess up a grilled cheese, but you haven't obviously been in the kitchen with me. So Monica, can you walk us through the steps?
Absolutely. It starts with using great products. We have a wonderful fresh baked sourdough, and of course you can't make a great grilled cheese without Hilmar's cheese. We're gonna start by adding our garlic butter to the sliced bread to all the corners because it's going to get that beautiful grilled edge that we want. We want a nice sizzling edge.
Beautiful.
Okay, we're gonna lay these down. And so while that's on there, very carefully, I'm going to go ahead and just add some classic butter to the top of our bread.
Monica,
and
do you
very
make
delicious.
this at home for your family?
I do make this at home. We have no shortage of cheese in my household. And I have grandchildren that come and this is their favorite. We're just gonna flip this over. You got a nice golden brown on that side.
So the garlic's gonna be on the inside.
Inside. If you want, of course, we're gonna add our wonderful Hilmar's Vintage Sharp Cheddar. Again, we're gonna put plenty of cheese all the way to the edges. It's okay if a little falls off. And we have some Monterey Jack, Hilmar's Monterey Jack here. We're gonna leave it open-faced and just give it a chance to kind of melt. You can use sliced cheese. We prefer grated cheese. It tends to melt better.
Okay, I don't cook grilled cheese open-faced like that at home. So I know downstairs you guys have this really darling restaurant and you can get fancy grilled cheese. Denise, what's your favorite?
Ooh, zesty tomato, which has pesto and grilled cheese in it and some tomatoes.
What about you, dear?
I love the classic grilled cheese.
You love the classic.
A wonderful fresh sourdough, vintage sharp cheddar is our most popular cheese that we sell on our visitor center, and it's by far my favorite.
So how are we doing on the grilled cheese,
We are
Monica?
doing great. I think we are going to give it
delicious.
a flip. We're going to flip it over, give it a little check and see how that cheese is melting. It's almost ready.
All right.
Okay.
Well, let's dive in, okay? Shall I
Absolutely.
cut us some slices here?
Yes.
You hear that wonderful crunch?
We'll just like take a little peek there.
Oh, that's beautiful. You see all that cheesy gooiness.
Smells delicious. It's a little warm and gooey.
That's how you want a grilled cheese sandwich.
I think, oh, pardon my fingers.
There you go.
Our chef here. All right, ladies.
Perfectly grilled cheese.
Yum.
Yum.
Okay. Oh. So good. Thank you so much for the information today. More importantly, the grilled cheese. We have the opportunity today to talk to a dairyman who actually sends his milk here. Well, gang, we just wrapped up with that delicious grilled cheese, and now we actually get to talk to Vance. Vance is a dairyman himself, and now we'll get to learn a little bit more about where that milk that turns into cheese comes from. So Vance, tell me a little bit, what's your connection with Hilmar Cheese?
So I'm one of the over 100 producers that ship milk to Hilmar Cheese here in the California facility. We take that milk within 24 hours.
Wow.
It leaves the dairy and arrives here at the plant to be made into great cheese, whey, and lactose products for the consumer to enjoy.
So that quick, 24 hours from coming out of the cow to being made into cheese here.
Yes.
For folks at home that maybe haven't ever experienced a dairy before, what does like a normal day look like for you?
So our normal days are around the clock, 24/7. And the main focus of the dairy is cow comfort. We want these cows to be healthy and comfortable. So part of that is preparing their beds, cleaning the milk facility, making sure we have clean cows. We have a nutritionist that comes once a month.
Wait, your cows have a nutritionist?
Our cows
I
have
don't
their
have a
own nutritionist
nutritionist.
or what we would call a dietitian. So we are very particular about what our cows are fed to meet their needs to keep them healthy and producing.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today and giving us some insight as to what happens on your dairy.
Great, thank you, Anna.
Straight ahead, a business fueled by its motto to differ from the herd and making a moving fashion statement.
We need someone to be there, knowing they'll always care. Someone who lights your way each and every day. Doing what you love is everything, so we can celebrate the joy it brings. There's so much to protect in our lives. That's why Nationwide is on your side.
Are you looking to uncover more of the bounty of California's rich, diverse, and delicious food and wine scene? Then it's time to get social with us. Find even more great content from farm to fork and everything in between, like recipes, behind the scenes, on food and wine tours, plus useful info on what's good for you and so much more. Join an engaging community of like-minded foodies and tell us what great story ideas you have for us too. So what are you waiting for? Get in on the conversation now. Find, follow, and talk to us on social at CaBountiful.
You love your pet and would do pretty much anything for them. But sometimes pet healthcare costs can make your wallet growl. That's why we created My Pet Protection, pet insurance designed exclusively for employees like you. Get reimbursed for eligible veterinary expenses. Enjoy extra perks like Vet Helpline, Pet RX Express, and more. Use any vet anywhere. Signing up is easy. Just tell us about your pet and choose your level of reimbursement. My Pet Protection is available only through your employer. Get a no-obligation quote today.
Welcome back. She's a cowhide connoisseur styling her favorite animal into wearable art. Each piece is handcrafted, perfect for any farm gal getup. Differ from the herd. That's the tagline inspiration for Burlap Bovine, which crafts uniquely handmade leather and cowhide accessories.
I grew up on my family's cow-calf ranch in Livermore, and ironically, as a kid, I was always afraid of cows, and now they're like my favorite. Because I like cows, people sometimes want to give you a gift or say, oh, this cute thing made me think of you, right? And it would always be a Holstein, and I'd be like, oh, but that's a dairy cow. I want a Hereford or an Angus or a Black Baldy. And they didn't exist really. And so I used that as a jumping off point to kind of create my products. I hand stitch all of my pieces.
Mallory Walker runs the small business out of her home using her passion for cattle to get her creativity moving.
It's hard to organically think of ideas that make you stand apart from the crowd or the herd. And I try really, really hard to gain inspiration from within. I started out with a pair of fabric scissors and a piece of cowhide rug, and the rest is kind of history. Now I have upgraded into different pieces of machinery that help me be more efficient in my business, and have gone through the research and the time and the trials and errors from hand tracing and hand cutting my very first pieces. Now I have, I call them cow cookie cutters. They're like cookie cutters, but they're for leather, so they're made of steel. And I have a press. Now I just go out in the garage and I have my clicker press, and that's like my workout for the day. And then I get cute things at the end.
Among her line of ag-inspired jewelry and accessories are earrings.
I started with teardrop shapes and combining different leathers and textures there. And now I've expanded into many more shapes, and I've even started tooling leather. So that's something that was always a dream of mine. Once I got into leather and cowhide, I always envied the leather artists who can think of something in their mind and then put it on leather and make it come to life. One of my most popular items actually is my graduation cap toppers. So I cut a piece of cowhide and the graduate picks their favorite cowhide, and basically the piece is to glue on top of the mortar board. So I cut a tassel hole for the tassel button so they can still, switch their tassels.
And since it's all handcrafted, each item is unique in its own way. Plus, she can customize the items too.
The limit does not exist on the greens for Christmas trees here. I go back to, is there a story that relates to this product? As a kid, I always remember picking out Christmas ornaments to put on the tree with my mom, and when we decorated the tree. And now I have people who ask me, to brand their child's initials on their Christmas cowhide stocking, or tool a specific name or date into a piece, and that makes it commemorative for them. The sky is the limit, and I always tell people, I hand brand these things, but I'll try.
From online orders to in-person sales, Burlap Bovine is collecting cow fans worldwide.
Do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. That saying, there should be like a little footnote that, oh, by the way, that doesn't mean it's not going to be stressful.
But at the heart of it all, Mallory credits her family's support for her success.
My dad is a huge inspiration to me, and I have him in a newspaper clipping displayed in my office in his FFA jacket from the same chapter that I was a member of in high school. And it reminds me that I hope, oh, emotional. I hope every day that I'm making him proud, and my mom. My mom is a huge part of my business, as well as my husband. It's truly a family-based business. The most rewarding piece of the puzzle is when someone loves my products as much as I love making them. In a booth setting, someone will walk up and tell their friend, especially. I sit in my chair and just giggle in the back because they go back and forth and they're like, oh, look at this, how cute. No, look at this, how cute. Oh my gosh, look at this, how cute. And I'm like, oh. It's like little tiny kudos, but my favorite is when I'm like, they buy a pair of earrings and they say, would you like me to bag it up for you? And they're like, oh no, I'm gonna wear them right now.
Thanks for hanging out with us here in Apple Hill. I'm Aubrey Aquino. You can also keep up with us online at CaliforniaBountiful.com. Take care, and we'll see you next time for more Bountiful. On the next California Bountiful, we're baking up some ag-inspired cakes. Plus, we'll go into the kitchen to make an authentic Peruvian dish. Then a fermented drink that's not your basic booch before we suck up some garden tips. Join us next week for these stories and more.